Hi guys, welcome back to the channel Tech Concepts with May. In this video, we're going to be creating and defining relationships between tables in the PostgreSQL environment. This is part 3 of our series on creating tables. And you will remember that in our last video on this series, or in part 2, we talked about relationships that exist between tables and relational databases. We talked about the types of relationships and the rules that guide implementation of these relationships. Specifically, in this video, we're going to be demonstrating how to implement the relationship between two tables in the PostgreSQL environments. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how to demonstrate or demonstrating how to implement a one-to-many relationship between two tables. And we're focusing on the one-to-many relationship because this is the most important relationship that exists amongst all of the relationships of our relational databases. We did mention that our one-to-one relationship is typically not used because we might as well just have all of the attributes from the second table imputed into the first table. We also talked about the fact that with our many-to-many relationship, that we typically will break, tables possessing such a relationship into three tables consisting of two one-to-many relationships. Now, before I go any further, I want to request that you subscribe to the channel. If you look to the bottom right of the viewport of this, video, you will see a red subscription watermark. If you take your mouse and hover around that watermark, you will be prompted to subscribe. Please do well to subscribe. Now, the other thing we're going to be doing is populating our tables, with CSV files. CSV files are what you may refer to as comma separated value files, usually denoted by delimiters or commas. So each attribute of the instances, okay, of, the content of our tables will be separated by delimiters. Okay. So that being said, this is the, relationship that we're going to be implementing between our two tables. Here we have a department table and an employee table. Now, our department table, you know, has a department ID as the primary key. Our employee table has employee ID as the primary key. But in relation to these two tables, or the relationship that exists between these two tables, the primary key is denoted here and the foreign key is denoted here. Okay, so you can see that department ID is the foreign key, okay, representing this department ID, which is the primary key in the departments table. We did indicate in our parts 2 that with respect to the relationship representation between two tables, the side or the table on the side containing the one side of the relationship, okay, is where our primary key will be denoted. And the table on the side where our crow's foot is represented, or the many side of the relationship, is where our foreign key will be denoted. So you can take a snapshot of this because this is what will be guiding our implementation. So I'm going to navigate to my command prompt. Okay, so I'm going to say CMD. okay, in the search box, and it's going to open up the command prompt. Now, with my command prompt opened up, I'm going to log into the PSQL, environment. So I'm going to say PSQL user Postgres database Postgres. It's going to prompt me to enter my password, and I'm going to enter the password, okay, which I created. Now we're logged into the, you know, Postgres environment through our command prompt. Um, I want to know, states that with respect to how commands are used in our command prompt and how they are used on a Mac terminal, the commands are the same. So with our Windows operating system command prompt and with our Mac operating system terminal, the commands are exactly the same. So there's no need to worry that it has been switched from the Mac to a Windows operating system. All right, I just thought it was important to clarify that. So in this video, we're not going to be creating databases. We're not going to be creating schemas. We're not going to be switching schemas. We're going to be using the default database. We're going to be using the default schema, which is public. All right. If you want to learn how to create databases and create schemas, you should refer to the video that focuses on that. All right. Just wanted to state that. All right, so here the first thing we're going to do is just check what schema we're currently using. So here I am going to say show search path. Okay, I should have added my semicolon. Apologies. Now hit the return key. All right, and here the output is produced to show us that we're using the public schema. We're using the public schema. So that being said, we're going to go right into creating our table. The first table we're going to create is the departments table. Before we go ahead, I need to point out something. With respect to these two tables, once our tables have been created, we must populate our department table before we populate our employee table. And this is because with our relationship representation, what we are saying here is that as far as our department ID is concerned in our employee table, whatever department ID does not exist in the department table cannot be entered into our employee table. So if we're trying to populate this table, but we haven't entered a department ID in our department table, then we will not be able to populate it. Okay, just thought to point that out. All right, so I'm going to go back to terminal. Sorry, my command prompt. And here I'm going to start by creating our department table. So here I'm going to say create table departments, open parenthesis, and we're going to start entering our attributes. So here we're going to say department ID. Okay, we can say that is an integer. And we're going to say not null because we do not want it, or we do not want that particular cell for each of our records to be empty. And then we're going to say primary key because that's our primary key. So we're going to make that indication, primary key. And then we're going to move on to the next attributes, department name, department name. And then we're going to say character variant denoted by varchar. And we're going to say our length is, say, 50. Okay. And then we're going to say not known. And then we're going to enter in, you know, inputs for our department phone, a description for our department phone. Also, we're going to call that character variant, right? And we say our phone number is a character variant, data type, because with our phone numbers, we do not, carry out any operations with them. For instance, addition, subtraction, division, but also we do not rank phone numbers in terms of hierarchy of the numbering system, where we say this phone number is higher than this other phone number. So we call it character or character variant. All right. So department phone number is that. And we're going to use the length of 11. And then we can also say not null. Then we're going to have a department description. Okay. And that's also character variant. And we could give that 100 in terms of length. And then we have, before we finish that up, okay, we could just say not null. And then finally, we're going to have our department location. Department location. And then we can also say character variant. And we could say the length of 20 here and not null. And then we can close our parenthesis and then we can end with our semicolon and hit the return key. And we see that our table has been created, or our department table has been created. Now to check or view it, we could say select all from departments and with the semicolon, right? And we can see what the table looks like. So then we're going to go ahead and create our employee table. And I will request that we pay attention here, because this is where we are going to be defining the referential integrity between our employee table and our department table. Okay, so we're going to start with the create table keyword, create table employee, right? And then we're going to open parentheses as well. We're going to say employee ID, employee ID, right? And that's an integer. And we can say not null, but also that is the primary key. Okay, comma. And then we're going to say employee name, and we could say character variant and give it a length of 50. Okay. And then we can say not null. Then we can go ahead to the department ID, which is where I want us to pay attention. Department ID. I'm going to give it a slightly different name from the one in our department table. Okay, so DEPRT, department ID. Remember, it's an integer in terms of data type, but also it references, okay, our department table. All right. But also important to indicate is that in that department table, it references our department ID. References our department ID. So we're going to have that in parentheses as well. And then we're going to say employee qualification, right? Employee qualification, right? And we're going to say character variant. We could say, let's just give it 20 as well. And we can say not null. Okay. And then we're going to say employee rank. Employee rank. And we could say character variant. And we could say 20, right? And we could say not null, not null. We can close that parenthesis, okay, to show that we are done defining the attributes. All right, and then we can end with our semicolon. All right, and then we get the output that reads create table. Now we can also do the same thing. Select all from employee, right? And we will see that our employee table also exists. Now, to populate our tables, like I indicated, we're going to begin with the table that's represented on the side where our one, bar is, which represents the one side of the relationship, which is department, because that's where the primary key is hosted. All right, in relation to the two tables that share a relationship. Right. So to populate our table or departments table, we're going to start with the keyword copy. All right. Copy department. Mm, Copy department. And then we're going to open parentheses. We're going to define our attributes. We're beginning with the department table. So these are the attributes we're going to be defining. Yeah. So here you're going to say department ID. Then you're going to say department name and department phone, and then department description, and then department location. All right. And then we're going to close that parenthesis. We're going to close that parenthesis. And then we're going to say from, because we want to copy from somewhere. All right. Uh, we're going to define the path where this data is stored. All right, now to view where our data is stored, I'm just going to take us to my documents. All right, so you see two um, Excel looking like, files here. We have department table, we have employee list. So these are our CSV files. Remember at the beginning, I indicated that we will be importing CSV files. Now, your CSV files can be created as, Excel documents, spreadsheets, normal spreadsheet documents. However, while saving, you will save the file as a CSV file. Okay, just to demonstrate that process, let's use the department table. This is already a CSV file, okay, but if we were going to save this, let's assume that this was an Excel spreadsheet. If we were going to save this as a CSV, we're going to go or navigate to File, select Save As. Okay, here select Browse. Okay, give it a name of your choice. And then in the drop down next to be Save As Type, all right, you're going to select CSV delimited. Okay, and save. All right. So that's how you save it as a CSV. Now, if you would like to, practice with this exercise and, implement what we're doing, if you look in the description portion of this video, you will see some attachments, actually with these names. So two CSV files, department table and employee list. So you can use those or download first and then use those to practice alongside, our demonstration. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to go back to my command prompt, right, where we're writing our command to import data into our departments table. Okay, so I'm going to, after from, or the from keyword, I'm going to open single quotes, and I'm just going to take that path for department table to get the path, right click on that particular document and select properties, all right, and we'll show you next to location, you'll see the path. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to place that here. However, we're going to use double quotes. Sorry, double backslashes, as opposed to single backslashes. So that's, and then the name of our document or file. So that's, and I believe the name is department table, department underscore table. We're going to end with .csv. All right. So that being done, we're going to close that quote. Okay. Close our single quotes. And then we're going to use the keyword delimiter, which indicates how our attributes are separated. Okay. In terms of each record. And then we're also going to, open up single quotes, put a delimiter there, close that up, and then say CSV header. Okay, that implies that the first row of our table contains the heading names or the headers. So here, as you can see, we have department ID, department name, department phone, department description, department location. But also, that's the same thing with our CSV file. Okay, the first row contains the headers. So which is what we have indicated there. So once that's done, we're going to end with our semicolon, and I'm going to hit the return key, and it says copy for. Now, if I say select all from departments, I end with my semicolon, you will see that our table department has been populated. Now we're going to do the same thing for our employee table. All right. So here I'm going to say backslash copy employee. Okay. And then we're going to open parentheses and list our employee attributes or employee table attributes. So here I'm going to say EMP LY ID. Oh, sorry. Right. We're going to start that again. Backslash copy employee, open parenthesis, EMP LY ID, right? Employee name, department ID, right? Employee qualification and employee rank. Okay, I'm going to close that parenthesis and then we're going to say from, right? We're going to take this part of our first import because um, as you can tell, they're stored in the same place, right? So we're going to take that, copy and paste, and then we're going to change that name from department table to employee list, I believe. So let's check that out. Let's go back here. Employee list. That's correct. So here we're going to say employee underscore list. All right. The limiter CSV. I think every other thing is in order. And we're going to hit the return key and it says copy 24 as output, which means our data has successfully been imported into our employee table. Now I am going to say select all from employee, 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 okay, and and here we go. Our data has been imported. Another thing I would like you to try is in practicing this exercise, I would like you to try to import data into the employee table before you do into the department table and see what errors you get. Okay, so this will help you to see how our enforcement of referential integrity impedes data entry into the employee table, okay, especially for the department ID attributes, okay, which obviously will not have been entered into the department's table if you were to import data into the employee table first. So I'd like you to try that. We're going to stop this video here. In our next video, we're going to be looking at other ways we can import, large data sets into our, PostgreSQL environment and into our tables, so that you see what other options you have for getting data sets that can help you, to get more practice done. So that being said, I'm going to stop this video here. I'd like to request, that you subscribe, right? And I will see you in the next video.